So I'm still trying to process all this shit that's gone down over the past week, but I need to get this off my chest because I'm about to fucking explode. Sorry in advance if this is all over the place. My wife Rhonda and I met at this local CrossFit competition about 6 years ago. I wasn't even supposed to be there, but my buddy crew convinced me to join last minute. She absolutely destroyed me in the competition, lol, but we hit it off when I congratulated her afterward, started dating, got married like a year later, and now we have a 4-year-old son. Things have been mostly good, I guess. I work in IT and sometimes have to stay late debugging shit or putting out fires. She works in pharmaceutical sales and travels a lot for work. The past year or so, she's been working late more and more, but I never really questioned it because her career was taking off and I was proud of her. Looking back, there were definitely some red flags I ignored, like how she'd get super defensive if I asked about her work trips, or how she'd turn her phone screen away when texting, or how she'd sometimes smell like cologne when she got home. I just chalked it up to her being around clients all day. So last week I was supposed to be at this 3-day tech conference in another state. My last session got canceled, so I caught an earlier flight home, thinking I'd surprise Rhonda since she wasn't expecting me until the next day. I pull up to our house around 8 p.m. and see a bunch of cars in the driveway. I figured she had some friends over, which was cool. I was gonna walk in and say hi, but as I got closer to the back patio, I could hear them all laughing and drinking. That's when I heard it. Rhonda's voice, all drunk and slurry. That pathetic loser still thinks I'm working late. I've been spending nights with his brother for 3 years. I literally stopped dead in my tracks. Her friends were all howling with laughter. Then someone else chimes in, and with his best friend since your wedding night. More fucking cackling. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My brother Zachary, my best friend Crew, since our wedding night? Then one of her friends goes, remember when you told him you were at your mom's but you were actually in Vegas with Mark? And they're all just losing it. Then Rhonda mumbles something that made my blood run cold. He's even raising someone else's kid thinking it's his. I don't know how long I stood there. I was shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone, but somehow I managed to record the last part of their conversation. After they moved on to some other topic, I quietly went back to my car and just sat there for like an hour trying to process everything. I ended up driving to a hotel for the night. Couldn't sleep at all. Just kept replaying those words over and over in my head. My brother, my best friend, my son. The next morning while Rhonda was in the shower, I went through her phone, found texts between her and Zachary planning their hookups, found hotel receipts she'd saved in her email for Vegas trips with some guy named Mark when she told me she was visiting her mom. There were even some messages with Crew that went back years. I took screenshots of everything and sent them to myself. Then I called a divorce attorney and set up an appointment for the next day. When Rhonda got home from work, I played the recording for her. The look on her face, man, she went from confused to shocked to panicked in like 5 seconds. Started crying and saying it was just drunk talk, they were joking, blah, blah, blah. I just looked at her and said I knew everything. About Zachary, about Crew, about Vegas, about our son maybe not being mine. She completely broke down, begging me not to leave, saying she'd do anything to fix this. I packed some clothes and grabbed my son. Told her I was staying at a hotel until I figured out what to do next. She tried to block the door, screaming that I couldn't take our son. I just moved past her and left. My phone has been blowing up ever since. Text from Rhonda. Babe, please, it was just drunk talk. The kids need you. I'm pregnant with your baby this time, I swear. That last one is such bullshit because we haven't had sex in like 2 months. Then Zachary started calling. I've ignored all his calls, but he left voicemails saying we need to talk, that it's not what it sounds like, and other garbage. Crew hasn't reached out yet, which is probably smart of him. I got a paternity test for my son yesterday. Should get results in a couple days. I'm terrified of what they'll say, but I need to know. The attorney says I have a solid case with the evidence I've gathered. I've already moved half our savings into a separate account. Left her half. I'm not trying to be a dick about money. Changed all my passwords. Made sure she can't access any of my accounts. My parents don't know yet. That's going to be the hardest conversation. Telling them their son, not me, the other one, has been sleeping with my wife for years, and that their grandson might not be their grandson. This morning I woke up to a text from Zachary. I know you hate me right now, but there's stuff you don't know. Call me. I haven't called him yet. Part of me wants to never speak to him again. Part of me wants to beat the shit out of him. And part of me wants to know what stuff he thinks would make any of this okay. I'm meeting with the attorney again tomorrow to go over next steps. I've already decided I'm going for full custody, whether my son is biologically mine or not. I've been his dad for 4 years, and I'm not abandoning him just because his mom is a cheating liar. This is just the beginning. I'm going to make sure Rhonda, Zachary, and Crew all pay for what they've done. Not in any illegal way, but they're going to face consequences. Rhonda thinks I'm some pathetic loser she can walk all over. She has no idea what's coming. Update 1. This has been the worst week of my life, but reading your comments actually helped me feel less alone in all this shit. So after I posted last time, I decided to answer Zachary's call. Big mistake. He wanted to meet up to explain, so I agreed to a public place. This coffee shop near my hotel. I get there early and I see him sitting there looking all nervous, checking his phone every few seconds. I sat down and just stared at him. He started going on about how it wasn't planned and how it just happened and other bullshit excuses. I let him talk for like 5 minutes straight, just digging himself deeper. Then I put my phone on the table, the one with all the screenshots and the recording. He actually had the nerve to say Rhonda pursued him and that he tried to end it multiple times. When I asked why he didn't just tell me, he said he was protecting me. I lost it, reached across the table and grabbed him by his shirt, knocked over his coffee all over his lap. People were staring, but I didn't care. I told him he was dead to me, that he wasn't my brother anymore. He started crying, like actually sobbing in the middle of the coffee shop. Some employee came over and asked if everything was okay. I just got up and left. When I got back to the hotel, I had an email from the paternity testing place. Opened it right there in the parking lot. Not gonna lie, I had to pull over and just sit there for a while after reading it. My son, the kid I've raised for 4 years, taught to ride a bike, stayed up with when he was sick, isn't biologically mine. I don't even know how to process that. Part of me wants to know who his real father is, but another part doesn't. What difference would it make now? Went to see my lawyer again yesterday. She advised me to secure my finances ASAP because once Rhonda got a lawyer, things could get messy. So I went to the bank and opened a new account at a completely different bank, transferred my portion of our joint accounts, left half for her. I'm not trying to be shady. Changed the direct deposit info for my paychecks. While I was doing that, Rhonda was blowing up my phone. Kept calling and texting non-stop. I finally answered just to make her stop. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. Said she'd do anything to fix this, that she loved me, that it was all a terrible mistake. I just asked her why. Why my brother? Why my best friend? Why lie about our son? She said she was scared I'd leave her if I knew the truth about the baby. Said the thing with Zachary was just physical at first, but then they developed feelings. And crew was just a one-time thing that happened when she was drunk at our wedding, but then became occasional hookups when I was traveling for work. I don't know if any of that is true, and honestly, I don't care. The damage is done. I had to tell my parents. That was brutal. Invited them over to my hotel room after my son was asleep. My mom knew something was wrong the second she saw my face. When I told them everything, my dad just sat there, completely silent. My mom started crying. Then my dad did something I've never seen before. He stood up, took out his phone, and deleted Zachary's contact info right in front of me. Said, I only have one son now. My mom tried to say something about working through this as a family, but Dad shut that down immediately. Said there were some things that couldn't be forgiven. Before they left, my mom helped me set up a new credit card in just my name and showed me how to check my credit report to make sure Rhonda hadn't opened anything in my name. Dad gave me the number of his buddy, who's a financial advisor, to help me sort out what to do about our house and other assets. The next morning, I dropped my son off at daycare. The teacher asked if everything was okay at home because he'd been acting different. I just said we were going through some changes and I'd keep them updated. Felt like shit lying, but what am I supposed to say? Sorry, just found out I'm not his real dad and his mom's been cheating on me with my brother. Got a text from crew yesterday. First time he's reached out since everything blew up. Just said we needed to talk and that there's more to the story. I told him to go fuck himself. But then he sent this long paragraph about how Rhonda had been manipulating all of us. Said she told him we had an open marriage and that I knew about everything. Said she'd show him texts from me giving permission. Obviously, those were fake. He also said Rhonda had told him the same story about our son not being mine years ago, and that's why he didn't say anything. He thought I already knew. I don't know if I believe him. Seems convenient to blame everything on Rhonda now. But it did make me wonder what other lies she's been telling. When I went to our house to get more of my stuff, I found out Rhonda had changed the locks. Had to call a locksmith since my name is on the deed too. While waiting for the locksmith, I checked our online banking and saw she'd withdrawn almost $4,000 from our joint account, the half I'd left for her. She'd already moved most of it somewhere else. The locksmith got me in, and I found Rhonda sitting in the kitchen with her sister. They both started yelling at me for breaking into my own house. I ignored them and went upstairs to get more clothes and some of my son's favorite toys. When I came back down, Rhonda was on the phone with the police saying there was an intruder. I showed the cops my ID with the address on it and the deed to the house with my name. They told Rhonda there was nothing they could do since I legally lived there. After the cops left, her sister started getting in my face, saying I was being cruel and that Rhonda was in a dark place when all this happened. I just walked past her to my car. Rhonda followed me outside, crying and grabbing my arm, begging me not to leave again. I had to physically remove her hand from my arm. The neighbors were watching the whole thing from their driveways. Great. Now the whole neighborhood knows our business. I'm staying at my parents' house now. The hotel was getting too expensive, and my mom insisted. She's been amazing with my son, taking him to the park, cooking his favorite foods, trying to keep things normal for him. My dad, though, yesterday he came home with a black eye and scraped knuckles. Wouldn't say what happened, but my mom later told me he went to confront Zachary at his apartment. Apparently, they got into a physical fight. At their age. My dad is 61. Just shows how deeply this has affected everyone. The divorce paperwork has been filed. Rhonda was served yesterday. My lawyer says we have a good case for me getting partial custody despite the paternity results, since I've been the father figure for his entire life and didn't know he wasn't biologically mine. I still haven't decided what to do about my job. We work for different companies, but in the same industry, so we have some overlapping contacts. I'm worried about what Rhonda might tell people. Just found out something that makes this even worse. Was going through some old emails looking for insurance information, and found an exchange between Rhonda and my boss from 2 weeks ago. Looks like she's been setting the groundwork to make me look unstable at work if I ever found out about the affairs. The emails talk about how concerned she is about my recent behavior and how she doesn't want it to affect my job performance. My boss's replies are pretty neutral, just thanking her for the info. But now, I'm worried about what else she might be planning. Gotta go, my lawyer's calling. We'll update when I can. Update 2. Things have gotten even crazier, and I'm typing this at 2 a.m. because I can't sleep with all this shit going on. So yesterday morning, I'm getting ready for work when I get this weird email from my boss asking if we could talk about my personal situation. WTF? I hadn't told anyone at work about the whole Rhonda disaster yet. I checked my work email, and holy shit, Rhonda had emailed my boss some long rambling message about how I'm unstable and dangerous and threatening her, and how they should be careful around me. I literally had to read it twice because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I immediately called my boss and asked if we could meet before the regular morning meeting. I showed up early with screenshots of all the evidence. The recording, the texts between her and Zachary/crew, everything. My boss kind of just sat there looking awkward AF while I explained the whole situation. He was actually pretty decent about it and said he figured something was off about her email. Told me not to worry about it and that HR would be told to ignore any further contact from her. Small win, I guess. But it got me thinking. Why is she suddenly trying to mess with my job? We've got joint accounts and savings that she could access, so why go nuclear like this? That's when I remembered something weird from a few months ago. I was using her laptop to order food while she was in the shower, and a notification popped up from some bank I'd never heard of. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now, so while she was at her mom's house yesterday, crying to her about how I'm overreacting, I logged into our shared cloud storage where we keep all our tax docs and stuff, searched through everything and found statements from not 1, but 3 accounts I didn't know about. 1 savings account and 2 investment accounts. The balance? Almost $80,000 total. $80,000 that she never told me about. Money that I'm pretty sure came from our joint funds over the years. I took screenshots of everything and sent them straight to my lawyer. Speaking of lawyers, mine called to tell me Rhonda hired this aggressive divorce attorney known for getting women big settlements. Great. The good news is my lawyer thinks the hidden accounts are game changers for the divorce proceedings. Apparently hiding assets is a big no-no. Oh, and Rhonda's parents showed up at my hotel room last night. Her dad was all fake nice, saying how they just want what's best for everyone, and how we need to work this out like adults. Her mom kept trying to hold my son and talk about how he needs his mommy. I told them I wasn't discussing anything without my lawyer present. Her dad's whole demeanor changed real quick. Started saying I was being vindictive and that I needed to be realistic about my situation. I asked what he meant by that, and he basically implied that since the paternity test showed I'm not the biological father, I should count myself lucky if I get any visitation at all. I shut the door in their faces, called security when they wouldn't leave. My son doesn't understand what's happening, and it's breaking my heart. His preschool teacher called yesterday saying he's been acting out, throwing toys and not listening. Can't blame the kid. His whole world is upside down and he's caught in the middle of all this adult bullshit. Zachary keeps trying to meet up. He left this pathetic voicemail about how it wasn't just physical and how they really have feelings for each other. Like that makes it better? I finally texted back and told him to save whatever bullshit explanation he has for the court. My parents have been surprisingly awesome through all this. My dad, who's usually super calm, apparently drove to Zachary's apartment and just lost it on him. Mom said dad was shouting so loud the neighbors came out to see what was happening. The craziest part? My mom revealed she hired a private investigator 3 months ago because she thought Rhonda was acting sketchy at my nephew's birthday party. The PI had been gathering evidence this whole time, including photos of Rhonda with Zachary going into hotels. Mom was waiting for the right time to tell me. But then I found out on my own. The photos are now with my lawyer. As for my best friend crew, I found out he works for this company with a strict morality clause in their contracts. I anonymously emailed his boss with evidence of him sleeping with his best friend's wife for years. No idea what happened, but his Instagram has been inactive for days and he's not answering calls from our mutual friends. I finally got Rhonda to tell me why she did all this. We met at a coffee shop, public place, with my friend at another table recording everything just in case. She tried the whole tearful apology thing, but I just stared at her until she started talking for real. Turns out she felt trapped after having our son. Said she was jealous of my career taking off while she was stuck with mommy duties. Said the thing with Zachary started as just flirting when he helped her with the baby one weekend while I was away for work. The thing with crew apparently started at our wedding reception when I was talking to relatives and they snuck off. The part that really got me? She said she cheated because she needed to feel wanted, and I always seemed too busy. Meanwhile, I was working overtime to pay for the bigger house she wanted and the vacations she planned. The fucking irony. I've stopped answering her calls completely now. All communication goes through lawyers. I'm sticking to my guns about wanting primary custody. My lawyer says it's still possible even though I'm not the biological father. I've been the dad for 4 years and abandoning him now would mess him up even more. Oh, and today I got an anonymous text from someone saying Rhonda is planning to move across the country with our son. Checked her search history on our shared tablet, which she forgot I could access. And sure enough, she's been looking at apartments in California. Already told my lawyer, who's filing for emergency custody to prevent her from leaving the state with my son. The divorce hearing is in 2 weeks. I'm gathering everything. The evidence of affairs, the hidden accounts, the attempt to sabotage my job, everything. Rhonda thinks she can walk all over me? She has no idea what's coming. We'll update after the hearing. Thanks for listening to my rant. Final update. It's been about 6 weeks since my last update, and holy shit, a lot has happened. I meant to post sooner, but between the court dates, work, and trying to keep my son's life somewhat normal, I've barely had time to breathe. So remember how I found out Rhonda was planning to move to California with my son? My lawyer immediately filed for emergency temporary custody to prevent her from leaving the state. The hearing was set for the following week, which gave me just enough time to get all my evidence together. The morning of the hearing, I was a nervous wreck. Hadn't slept more than like 3 hours the night before. My mom made me eat something before we left, even though I wasn't hungry. Dad came with me for moral support, but had to wait outside the courtroom. I got there early and saw Rhonda with her lawyer and her parents. She looked different, all dressed up in this conservative outfit I'd never seen before. Hair pulled back, minimal makeup, trying to look like Mother of the Year or whatever. She wouldn't even look at me. When we got inside, her lawyer started going on about how Rhonda was the biological parent and had been the primary caregiver. Total BSBTW. We'd always split childcare pretty evenly, and how the move to California was for a fresh start and better opportunities for their son. Then my lawyer presented our evidence. The recordings of Rhonda admitting to the affairs, the screenshots of her searching for apartments in California without telling me, the bank statements showing the hidden accounts, the emails where she tried to sabotage my job. But the thing that really seemed to get to the judge was when my lawyer brought up how Rhonda had deliberately hidden my son's paternity from me for 4 years. The judge asked Rhonda directly why she never told me the truth. She started crying and saying she was afraid I'd leave them both if I knew. The judge wasn't buying it. She said something about how denying a child knowledge of their biological father and denying a man the truth about paternity were both forms of profound dishonesty that called Rhonda's judgment into question. To my complete shock, the judge granted me temporary primary custody pending the final divorce hearing. Rhonda would get weekend visitation but couldn't take our son out of state. The look on her face when the judge announced this, I almost felt bad for her. Almost. After the hearing, Rhonda's dad tried to confront me in the hallway, saying this wasn't over and that blood always wins in the end. My dad stepped between us and told him to back off. For a minute, I thought they might actually start throwing punches right there in the courthouse. Security had to come over and separate them. I won't lie, the next few weeks were tough. My son was confused and upset about the changes. He kept asking when he could go home, and I didn't know what to tell him. Trying to explain divorce to a 4-year-old is basically impossible. Meanwhile, the financial stuff was getting sorted out. Because of the hidden accounts, my lawyer was able to argue that Rhonda had been engaging in financial misconduct during the marriage. The judge ordered a full financial investigation, which revealed she'd been siphoning money from our joint account for over 3 years. Rhonda's lawyer must have realized they were fighting a losing battle because they suddenly became very interested in settling. They offered a deal. Rhonda would sell her portion of our house to me at below market value if I agreed to joint legal custody, still with me having primary physical custody. My lawyer thought it was a good deal, and TBH, I was tired of fighting, so I agreed. I had to take out a new mortgage to buy her out, but at least I got to keep the house. My son wouldn't have to move or change schools. Oh, and remember how Rhonda's company transferred her to a less desirable territory after I anonymously sent them evidence of her using company resources for her affairs? Well, she ended up quitting. Apparently, the territory they assigned her was so bad that she couldn't make her sales targets, which meant her commission checks were tiny. Last I heard, she's working for some startup now making way less money. As for Zachary, his fiancée found out everything. Not from me, I never contacted her, but apparently from one of Rhonda's friends who felt guilty about the whole situation. She broke off their engagement and moved out of their apartment. He tried to crash at a friend's place, but word had spread about what he'd done, and most of their mutual friends took the fiancé's side. He actually showed up at my parents' house one night, drunk and crying, begging to talk to me. Dad wouldn't even open the door, just told him through the Ring camera to leave before he called the cops. Mom was torn up about it afterward. He's still her son, after all. But she agreed he made his own bed. Crew got hit pretty hard, too. After I anonymously informed his workplace about his character, they put him on some kind of probation. He ended up having to take a lower position at a different branch office. But the real karma was when his girlfriend of 2 years dumped him after finding out what he'd done. Turns out she was friends with one of my friends, and once the story got out, she was done with him. The most unexpected development was with my parents. They set up a trust fund for my son that neither Rhonda nor Zachary can access. It's specifically structured so that only I can manage it until my son turns 25. My parents made it clear that while they still consider Zachary their son, they don't trust him anywhere near their grandson's future. The final divorce hearing was last week, pretty anticlimactic compared to everything else. We stuck with the settlement we'd agreed to earlier. I got primary physical custody with joint legal custody. Rhonda has a visitation every other weekend and one evening a week. She has to pay a small amount of child support since I have our son most of the time and make less money than she does now. The judge made one final ruling that actually surprised me. Because of the extraordinary circumstances, aka Rhonda hiding my son's paternity, the court ordered that both Rhonda and I have to attend co-parenting counseling for at least 6 months. First session is next week. Not looking forward to it, but I'll do whatever's best for my son. So that's where things stand now. My son and I are back in our house. It feels weird sometimes knowing that Rhonda isn't coming back, but we're adjusting. I got a smart doorbell installed so I can see who's at the door before opening it. Changed all the locks too. Work has been surprisingly understanding about everything. My boss even adjusted my schedule so I can drop off and pick up my son from preschool. One of my coworkers who went through a divorce last year has been really helpful with advice about single parenting. The hardest part is still wrapping my head around the fact that my son isn't biologically mine. I look at him sometimes and try to see features that might belong to his real father, whoever that is. But then he'll do something that's so clearly from me, like the way he organizes his toys or how he laughs at certain jokes. And I realize biology doesn't matter as much as I thought it did. As for Rhonda, I got a text from her last night. Just said she misses us and wishes things could have been different. I didn't respond. Maybe someday we'll get to a place where we can be civil co-parents, but right now, I'm still too angry. Zachary and crew are both completely cut out of my life. I blocked their numbers, emails, social media, everything. A couple of mutual friends have tried to play peacemaker, saying family is family and all that, but I shut that down real quick. Some things you just can't come back from. My mom thinks I should consider therapy to deal with everything. She might be right, but for now, I'm focused on creating a stable home for my son. The trust fund my parents set up will cover his college someday, which is a huge relief. I know this isn't the perfect fairy tale ending where everyone gets what they deserve. Life doesn't work that way. Rhonda, Zachary, and crew will all eventually move on with their lives. But they've lost things that matter to them. Money, relationships, respect, and I'd be lying if I said that doesn't give me some satisfaction. As for me, I'm not the same person I was 2 months ago. I'm angrier, more cautious, less trusting, but I'm also stronger. I fought for my son and won. I protected what matters. And even on the hardest days, that counts for something. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. Not sure if I'll update again, but writing these posts has helped me process everything. Might check back in if anything major changes.